Today we're looking at some major news coming out of the United States and Venezuela, and I want to break down how this kind of news actually affects forex markets, the USD pairs and even crypto. If you're newer to trading, don't worry, I will keep this really simple and explain things clearly. I've been trading the markets for about 5 years now, mostly forex and crypto. And one thing I've learned is that understanding why price moves is just as important as knowing where to enter a trade. I'll also be sharing how I personally navigate this kind of market using my broker, PU Prime, especially when volatility picks up. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about why this news matters. Whenever there's political or military tension involving the United States, the global markets pay attention. The US dollar is the most traded currency in the world, so even news happening outside the US can still impact USD pairs. With the recent development involving Venezuela, traders became more cautious. When uncertainty enters the market, money often moves into what are considered safer currencies, and very often that includes the US dollar, at least in the short term. This is why we saw the dollar stay relatively stable instead of making huge moves. Traders were waiting, they were watching, they were managing their risk. From a trading point of view, this is where having access to multiple USD pairs really helps. On PU Prime, I trade majors like USD, the GBP, the Euro, and I also watch pairs like, USD JPY or GBP JPY because these moments often react differently when uncertainty increases. So having tight spreads during these times, through these cautious times, it makes a big difference, especially for newer traders. Now, let's talk about oil. Because Venezuela is a major oil producer and oil is traded globally using the US dollar. When the US puts pressure on Venezuela through sanctions or restrictions, it can affect how much oil, how oil reaches the global market. That uncertainty can move oil prices, and when oil prices move, certain currencies move with them. This is where forex gets interesting. Even if you're not trading oil directly, oil news can impact USD pairs and commodity related currencies. You might see movement in pairs like USD CAD or, AUD USD simply because traders are adjusting expectations. Personally, during these kind of news driven markets, I prefer trading with a broker where, execution is smooth and spreads stay competitive. With PU Prime, I found it easier to manage trades during volatility, especially when price reacts quickly to headlines. For beginners, this matters more than people realize. Small things like spreads and execution can really affect results over time.
Our sponsor today is helping people scale their privacy online. Now, if you're trying to automate your business online, then you are going to need a proxy. Proxy for You is the best and by far the most reasonable proxy provider out there in the market today. You get fast, reliable proxies with unlimited bandwidth. Whether you're scraping bots or just browsing, it is perfect for you. Go to Proxy for You today with all the links that you need in the description below. What do you say? Let's get back to the video.
Now let's focus on what's happening inside Venezuela. Because of economic pressure and long-term instability, Venezuela's local currency has lost a lot of value. When people lose trust in their currency, they look for alternatives, and very often that alternative is the US dollar. This is actually a good real-world example of why the US dollar remains so important globally, even during political tension. People still rely on the dollar to, install value and conduct trades. For forex traders, this kind of situation highlights why USD demand can, stay strong over a long period of time. It also explains why USD pairs behave the way they do during global stress. From my own trading experience, having access to a wide range of USD pairs is key. On PU Prime, I can switch between majors and minors depending on market conditions, and I don't feel restricted. For newer traders, that flexibility helps you learn how different pairs respond to the same news without needing multiple platforms or accounts. Now, let's bring crypto into the conversation. Around the same time this US Venezuela news started circulating, Bitcoin and the broader crypto market started moving higher. This isn't random. Many traders now use crypto as a way to measure overall market confidence. When crypto rises during uncertain times, it often means traders are looking for alternatives or preparing for increased volatility. When crypto drops sharply, it usually signals fear and a move towards safer assets. As a forex trader, I watch this closely. Crypto can sometimes give early clues about what risk sentiment might do next, which can later show up in USD pairs. This is also where it helps to trade with a broker that offers both forex and crypto markets on one platform. With PU Prime, I can monitor crypto alongside my forex trades. And moving funds between markets is pretty straightforward. Easy deposits and withdrawals make it much simpler to manage risk when markets start moving quickly. So, to wrap things up, the news between the US and Venezuela isn't just political headlines. It affects oil, global confidence, currency demand, and even crypto markets. All of this feeds directly into how USD pairs behave. For beginners especially, the main takeaway is this. Markets move because people react to uncertainty. News changes expectations, and expectations move money. And money moving is what creates price action. Take your time, manage your risk, and focus on understanding the bigger picture. Having a reliable broker, with good spreads and good access to the markets you want to trade, like I've had with PU Prime, makes that process a lot smoother. If you found this useful, let me know which USD pairs you're watching this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.